Thank you. Do you want to do roll call? Here.
Member Connors, Member DeSimone.
Present.
Executive Director Millennium.
Present.
Legal Counsel President.
Present.
Thank you so much. So today's agenda, we will we'll discuss and vote on an attached campaign finance election legislation that was submitted by General Assembly members during the current session. And then we will present a report of our recommendations to the to the full board. So I know that to present this, we'll have Rick share a little bit about this with us. Yes.
I just wanted to go briefly before Rick explains some of
yeah.
the changes. So this, before you here are these two bills, the Senate Bill 2334A and House Bill 7495. So previously, the board had tabled any action on these two bills pending some work that Rick was going to do with the sponsors to modify some language that the board had some concerns about. Subsequently, over the past few months, those changes were implemented into the Senate bill. Very recently, the week before last, I believe, the Senate actually did pass the 2334A, and it did have all of the changes that the board requested. The bill currently sits in the House, has been transferred to the House, and is before the House Committee on State Government and Elections to be passed in concurrence. So if the board votes to support Senate Bill 2334A, then that would allow me to send a letter to the House Committee on State Government and Elections to pass that in concurrence, because it does contain all of the board's recommended changes, so that it could pass the General Assembly. House Bill 7495, however, it has never had a sub-A introduced, and it still sits exactly as it sat prior. And I don't know if that's planned. However, potentially the board, if the committee could recommend to the board that the board could support it if the changes that are implemented in the Senate sub-A are actually factored into a House sub-A at some point before the end of the session, which, as you know, we're only a few weeks away from.
Perfect. Thank you. Rick.
Yes, Miguel essentially summarized, but I can go into detail the specific items that we sought clarification or change. On the original bill, on page 2, line 8, 17-25.4-4A, recommended deleting the word public funds. That was done. Also on page 2, line 10, change public figure to office holder. Again, that was accomplished. Page 2, line 12, change individual to candidate or office holder. And that change was made. On 17-25.4-5A on page 2, line 19. Again, this is in the working with legal counsel Macarcio on one of the other concerns of the board. Change the candidate or office holder shall determine that the security expenses are reasonably related to security risks to themselves and their immediate family. Change that to the security expenses must be reasonably related to security risks to themselves and their family. And then lastly, change reported to the State Campaign Finance Agency in accordance with rules governing non-campaign disbursements. Change that to reported to the Board of Elections in accordance with rules governing disbursements of campaign funds under Chapter 25 of this title. And all those recommended changes were made, again, as Executive Director Nunez indicated. The Senate did pass a sub-A on May 19, and it was referred to the House State Government and Elections Committee on May 20.
Perfect. Thank you. Does the commissioner have any questions? Please.
So Rick, as I read it, this speaks only to security. This isn't, this doesn't really seem to me to speak to the hiring of security personnel.
That's correct. It talks about physical security systems, and there was some discussion about digital security, and that was not added. They opted not to include that in this proposal.
And you're comfortable with this as it sits?
Yes, I am.
And just for Ray, you're comfortable with the language?
Yes,
You changed it?
we spoke about those modifications. Yes, I'm comfortable with it.
I mean, unless the chair has any comments, I would move to support the sub A, S 2334, at least initially, and then we can deal with the House bill, I think, separately. if that makes
Perfect.
sense.
Yes, yes. So if that's a motion, I'll have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And I mean, suggestions with regard to 7405, I mean, I think for me,
Yeah.
and I don't know,
Mhm.
Madam Chair, but we support it if it mirrored this language.
Exactly. So only if, which I think that's what would happen if it's heard between now and next week, they would either amend it to look exactly the same or just sort of get rid of it and pass the Senate version. So we can either support it if it's amended or just have no position on it.
What do you think, Ray?
I would support it as you were
Okay.
suggesting.
Okay. So support it if it's amended
Yes.
to,
I'll move to support House 7405 on the condition that it mirrors the language contained in Senate 2334 substitute A.
and I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And all that means is that either way, if it doesn't
Right.
mirror it, it doesn't pass as a law. So
Can
it
I
would
just-
be in the same
Can
place.
I just introduce
Please.
housekeeping? It's House Version 7495.
7495, yep.
7495, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
7495, yes, perfect.
7495. Yep.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Great. And so this is the only bill that we will be presenting to the, perfect. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We did it. Best committee ever. Jenny wishes we were all like this.
Yeah, I got a text from Jenny saying she might be late.